The number one problem with the show Andor has always been the same. 2 episodes of slow, plotting, somewhat repetitive setup, and a 3rd episode of massive, excellent payoff. And this has resulted in a show that is sometimes brilliant, usually well-written and well-produced, but often oddly slow, boring, and the first 3 episodes of Andor Season 2 were no exception, until I got to episode 4. And I gotta tell you, episodes 4 to 6 finally changed the game. Andor finally became the show that it needed to be for one simple reason. The characters finally became who they needed to be. And I'm going to explain exactly why. And there will be spoilers in this review of Andor episodes 4 through 6. I am Captain Garrett of the Swords of Starships channel, where our continuing mission is to inspire bold characters, beautiful worlds, and truth in art. Okay, so let's talk about why the first 3 episodes of Andor Season 2 really missed the mark. First of all, you have Andor, the titular character, who is, in theory, the most interesting character, but in practice, the least interesting character, but who, in the story, is always lauded as the most important rebel. Why do they think he's the most important rebel? I don't know. But the show starts off with him stealing this Imperial starfighter, and he immediately winds up sidelined for 3 freaking episodes. Then you've got Mon Mothma. She winds up stuck dithering at this wedding, walking with rich nobles up the side of a mountain, doing some kind of ceremony at the top of the mountain, walking back down the mountain, involving herself in catering problems. Andor's girlfriend, Bix, is stuck on a planet full of wheat. Does this seem familiar at all? When everyone feels stuck, it kills the tension in the show. When Andor is stuck mulling around in a jungle for 3 episodes, 3! Let me tell you what these characters are supposed to be. Luthen Rael, who is by far, as played by Stellan Skarsgård, the most interesting character in the show and the reason to watch it. He's the master manipulator. He should be scheming, planning. Mon Mothma is the political warrior. She should be in the halls of the Senate, on Coruscant, or in back rooms working out deals. That's where she shines as a character. Dedra, who is a ruthless, cunning, brilliant strategist in hunting down rebels, and she's obsessed. She needs to represent the terrifying rise of the fascist police state of the Empire. Syril, who started out the show as a cop and is sort of climbing the ranks of the Imperial bureaucracy. I love how he is this plucky, ambitious, eager, somewhat naive and out of the loop Imperial agent who is just, he loves climbing the ranks of the Empire. There's something about a guy who kind of loves how the Empire works and thrives on it that is needed in this world building. But in the first 3 episodes, none of these characters were fulfilling those roles. But now, in episodes 4 through 6, it's a different story. Now, to be fair to Tony Gilroy and the rest of the writers on the show, a lot of what they established in the first couple episodes did prove to be good setup for what's happening in episodes 4 through 6. The problem is they just spent too much time on setup. But at last, the planet Gorman as a setting is starting to pay off. So the basic premise is there's this planet Gorman. It's famous and very celebrated throughout. It was throughout the Republic as the epicenter of high fashion. So they're not easy for the Empire to just run over because people like them and they have a lot of political connections. But Gorman also has a type of mineral that Krennic, played by the brilliant Ben Mendelsohn, is trying to get for the Empire. They need this crystal. They have to get at it, but they can't raise alarms of why they want it. The cell, led by Dedra, is trying to deliberately create a rebellion on Gorman so that they will have a pretext for simply conquering it and getting what they need. They've basically got Syril embedded there, trying to stoke a rebellion and even let it win a little. It's a brilliant false flag operation. This becomes the backdrop for everything that's going on in the show. We have Luthen, who is on Coruscant, and he's got so many spinning plates, some of them are starting to slip. You have Bix, who is living in a safe house on Coruscant with Andor. She is on the verge of collapse. There's a sense that she's not really built for this in the way that the other characters are, but she wants to fight the Empire. She says, if I'm going to give up my life to this cause, I want to win. It reminded me of the great call to action Luthen has for Andor in the very first season.
I imagine that no matter what you tell me or tell yourself, you'll ultimately die fighting these bastards. So what I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all at once to something real than carve off useless pieces till there's nothing left?
Mon Mothma, who is cornered in the Senate, she's trying to use official channels to save Gorman, but the Gorman senators won't help her because they don't want to piss off the Emperor. Major Partagaz, played with just icy ruthlessness by Anton Lesser. He is just fantastic. He's one of the best. He's like the anti-Luthen. He's like the evil Luthen. It's fantastic. There's a great scene where he's giving an assignment.
I'm counting on you to keep watch on these idiots.
An honor, sir.
Really? It's an assignment. Calibrate your enthusiasm.
That's fantastic. He's just stone cold bureaucrat all the time. So Dedra and Syril find that they are going to now kick off the rebellion, and Syril is put in charge of getting this started. Syril turns to her and says,
if I say this is the greatest day of my life, does it spoil everything?
It's good to see you happy.
Andor, who is almost doing what he should be doing in this show. He actually goes on a mission to Gorman to assess their rebellion and find out if they're worth investing in. And I was so into it. I was loving it. I was like, Andor's going to be leading a resistance cell, until Andor decides they suck, that they're noobs, they're going to get themselves killed, and he abandons the mission and tells Luthen that's not worth it. They're not good enough at this. They were so close to making Andor be what he needs to be. He's almost there. Payoff has never been the issue with Andor. Somehow, no matter how slow the first two episodes are, something really awesome comes together in the end. And this time, the magic is in the alignment of the characters and their archetypes with what they're supposed to be doing. You start to ask yourself, what are they going to do? Then you're asking yourself, will this work? And then you're thinking, what could go wrong? And that is what allows tension to thrive in the show. You have Saw Gerrera, played magnificently by Forrest Whitaker. I love the character of Saw. He represents the ruthless, almost evil side of the rebellion. He goes on this mission, and he's kind of forced this engineer to steal the Rhydonium. Saw is deliberately inhaling these fumes, which are pretty dangerous. In large doses, they'll literally burn you to death from the inside. And then he tells the engineer to take off his mask and breathe. And he gives this incredible speech.
Look at us. Unloved, hunted, cannon fodder. We'll all be dead before the Republic is back, and yet, here we are. Let it in, boy. That's freedom calling. Let it in. Let it run. Let it run wild.
What makes Andor, when it's brilliant, what makes it brilliant is its simplicity. It's real people who are caught under the totalitarian boot of a imperial police state. There's no Jedi. There's no lightsabers. There's no prophecies of balance that are coming to save them. And when the show stumbles, it's because the characters are drifting out of character. They're drifting out of their proper archetype. And when it soars, it's because we are getting the promise of the premise. This is a show about rebels fighting the Empire and Imperial agents fighting rebels. That's what this show is about. And the underlying nature of the show is to reveal to us what life was like, after the fall of the Jedi and before the return of the Jedi. Episodes like this make my enjoyment of the prequels and the original trilogy that much more intense, because it's so much, it just becomes that much more clear why Luke Skywalker was so vital to saving the rebellion. Without him, the rebellion couldn't have got it over the finish line, because the odds against them are so massive. That's the true flow state of Andor in episodes 4 through 6. It becomes frictionless. There is the characters become frictionless in their roles, and that creates the friction that drives the tension in the show. If every arc hit this hard, Andor would probably be the best Star Wars TV series ever made. Episodes 4 to 6, I'm giving a 9 out of 10. I'm holding back that last point because of Andor having to turn tail. That really annoyed the shit out of me. Otherwise, this would have been a 10 out of 10. I loved it. I binged all 3 episodes. Couldn't wait to see the rest of it. And I hope the rest of the series is like this. Now, it doesn't change the fact that Disney Star Wars broadly is trash. But at least when I'm watching a good episode of Andor, I can kind of forget about all the stupid other Disney, the other dopey Disney series, and just pretend that it was Rogue One, this show, and the original 6. That is my review of Andor episodes 4 to 6. I am Captain Garrett of the Swords and Starships channel. And until next time, put a like on the video, subscribe, and I will see you out there in the galaxy far, far away.
Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?